In this video, we'll show you the key steps when installing a Cemintel Territory Cavity Wall system horizontally. Territory is a prefinished cladding system. Prefinished panels are an innovative cladding product that don't require painting, thus reducing the number of trades on site. Territory panels are designed with a tongue and groove profile. A compressible sealing strip is bonded onto the tongue profile on the top edge of the panel. This fits neatly into the groove profile on the bottom edge of the panel to form a weather-resistant joint and concealed fitting for a greater aesthetic design. Follow the pre-installed checklist to ensure you have the best possible outcome when using Cemintel Territory. The horizontal installation system is comprised of the following: Territory panels in your preferred finish, horizontal panel starter strips, horizontal clips, corner clips, vertical spacers, horizontal spacers, preformed corners or aluminium corner trim, double flange control joint, single flange control joint, primer and edge sealer, complementary colour sealant, eaves trim external corner, eaves trim internal corner, screws, face fix nails. Whenever handling Cemintel product, wear protective gloves and clothing. When cutting, also wear protective eyewear, hearing protection, and a face mask to avoid being exposed to dust and crystalline silica. Wear other standard protective equipment required by your tool choice. Refer to the Working Safely with Cemintel information on the Cemintel website for further safety information. Step 1. Prepare the substrate. Ensure the substrate is straight and plumb. Pack studs to straighten if necessary. Territory systems can be installed on either timber frame or steel frame. Industry best practice is a frame tolerance of 5 mm misalignment over 3000 mm. Flashings, membranes and wrapping should be correctly installed according to building requirements, overlapped and taped at joints prior to fixing the panels. For wrap, Territory has two installation methods. The first, recommended for residential projects, is to install as an air barrier with wrap taped and folded at the windows. The second, recommended for commercial projects, is to install as a loose wrap, with the internal linings being the air barrier. For external corners, where you plan to use the preformed corners, you'll need to ensure there is at least a 90 mm surface on each face of the corner to allow room for fixing the corner clips, as well as the standard horizontal panel clip. Double studs will be required whenever columns of wall panels are joined. Install window frames loose so that their final position can be adjusted. In its final position, the back of the front face of the window or any other protrusions, including doors or meter boxes, will need to be flush with the face of the panels. This requires a 31 mm set out from the face of the frame. Fit head flashings over windows, doors and other penetrations. Where there is no space to use a mounting clip along the bottom and top edge of the window frame, tack a horizontal green spacer to provide a firm surface for the cladding panel to maintain its position. Confirm the chosen eaves soffit details according to the ventilation system required and prepare accordingly. Fix the flashing to the base of the wall over the air barrier, which could be a wall wrap or rigid air barrier. Cemintel's tested system requires the flashing to be taped along the top edge of the flashing to the substrate. Once the plumb frame is prepared, the next step is to install the starter strip. Fix the horizontal starter strip to the base of the wall. Find the lowest point of the flashing where you'll be installing your panelling and measure up 26 millimetres from this point. 16 millimetres is the overhang of the panel when it sits on the starter strip. The first row of panels needs to be positioned to clear the flashings by 10 to 15 millimetres, or in the case of working from ground level to the minimum height the local building regulations specify. Fasten the starter strip level along the whole length of the strip to the base plate studs, usually 450 or 600 millimetre centres. Because each panel sits on top of the other, any errors in setting the level on the first wall panel will be compounded through each layer. It is therefore critical to ensure the starter strip is fitted level, ready to accept the first panel, and that the panels are tapped into place to sit tight. Pack out if necessary to ensure a uniform fixing plane. We recommend consulting your local building surveyor regarding appropriate materials for packing on your project. Step 3. Install corners. 1. For pre-finished corners. Slide the first pre-finished corner piece down the corner and over the starter strip. Then insert the narrow corner clip on each side and screw to the stud. It's important to ensure that each corner piece is square on both sides. If the corners are not square, pack out the clips. Install vertical backing strips at the corners. Slide behind the first corner piece edges. Re-level the corner to ensure that each corner piece is square on both sides. Tack in place, checking for vertical level on both sides of the corner. To add the next corner piece, slide it on top so that it sits firmly on the clips and tap into position. Secure another set of clips to the top of the corner and screw fix to framing. Two, for aluminium corners. To maintain the 15mm cavity, vertical spacers are required on each side of the corner stud. Make sure the spacer vent runs vertical to ensure the correct type of spacer is being used. The spacer must be trimmed to be narrow enough so that the first panel clip has enough space next to the corner stud without interference. Allow a small amount of space at the top to allow for ventilation. Cut the aluminium corner to length, remembering to deduct the height measurement of the eaves trim. Notch out to extend over the starter strip. Fix the eaves corner piece. Then, ensuring the aluminium corner trim is level, nail or screw it through the spacer to the frame. The wall panel should fit into the corner trim channel and slide down onto the starter strip. Step 4. Install wall panels. When cutting panels, it is important that they are cut face down to avoid chipping the face of the panels. Cut edges are sealed with Cemintel's recommended edge sealer to protect against moisture entering the panels. Place the wall panel over the starter bar and slide it into place. Ensure the panel is sitting tight on the start strip. Position horizontal panel clips firmly over panels at every stud and screw into place. Tap clips down to ensure they're tight. Pack out the clips if necessary to ensure a uniform fixing plane. Make sure to install clips at each end of the panel, screwing through into the double corner stud or through to the double stud anywhere panels are joined. Check the level of each course for the first few to ensure panels remain level. Where face fixing may be required, a strip of horizontal spacer, cut to a minimum length of 200 mm, should be positioned between the panel and the frame, thus maintaining the 15 mm cavity. For installing panels around windows, prepare the panels as normal, making sure to cut panels to the window width. A nominal space of 31 mm needs to be allowed for a flush finish, allowing for the 15 mm cavity created using the starter strip, clips and spacers, and the 16 mm panel thickness. Step 5. Finishing at the soffit. Fix a strip of horizontal spacer, or cut to a minimum length of 200 mm at each stud, below the eaves or soffit to maintain the 15 mm cavity. Slide the eaves trim into the eaves corner piece. Install the eaves trim hard against the eaves or soffit and fix through the spacer onto each stud. In the case of a backing strip being located on a stud, notch the back of the eaves trim so as to fit over the backing strip. The top pre-finished corner and panels will always need to be face fixed when using the horizontal installation method. You will need to cut the top panels and pre-finished corners 5 to 10 mm shorter than the height inside of the eaves trim. This allows lifting of the final panel or corner and dropping it into place. Mark the position of the studs to identify fastening points and pre-drill. Fasteners should be located 25 to 35 mm from panel edges for timber frames or 30 to 40 mm for steel frames. Tilt the panel out at the bottom and insert the top edge of the panel into the eaves trim. Lift panel up and locate the bottom edge of the panel onto the clips already installed. Once firmly in place, nail panels to the studs using the Cemintel supplied face-fix nails. Step 6. Caulk all expansion joints. Apply masking tape to each side of the vertical joints and at the base. Paint the edges of the panels with the primer. This helps the sealant adhere to the panels. Wait at least 30 minutes, but no more than 6 hours to apply the sealant. Smooth off the finish, removing excess sealant. Carefully remove masking tape in accordance with the manufacturer's instructions. Care needs to be taken not to get sealant on the panels, as this can result in marks and stains. Apply sealant to gaps at windows and other penetrations. Step 7. Touch up any exposed fasteners. Clean your installed panels with a damp cloth and touch up any exposed nail or screw heads with coloured touch-up paint. This is best done with either a cotton tip or artist's brush. For more information, view the Territory Horizontal Installation Guide, which is available on the Cemintel website.